Should I call you my waxing lady or should I say my esthetician?
Hey guys, it's Koo. Thanks for tuning in. The Peach Bar.
Hey guys, you're kicking it with Koo at WRNU radio station Newark in Rutgers. So this is my first show. I'm really excited, and my radio show is basically about interviewing entrepreneurs in the tri-state area about their businesses, their struggles, how they began, and just getting a feel of what it's like to own your own business. So today I have Erica with me, my waxing lady.
Hi, how are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm good.
And would you like to introduce?
And that is Dan, my business partner.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Yes, Dan is always here to help.
Yes, he is.
So, Erica, you are an esthetician.
Yes, I am.
And at what point in your life did you say, like, did you have this big epiphany of this is what I want to do and I don't want to do anything else?
Absolutely not. I started off, actually, I went to college and I got a finance degree. Oh. I worked at Chase Bank for a very long time. So finally, I was tired of it. I was tired of telling people where to put their money and being in a cubicle all day. I was just so bored with life. So I looked at myself and I said, what do I really like to do? And I love to do makeup.
Okay.
So I went to school, cosmetology school, to do makeup. But then I took a class on waxing and fell in love with that. And I just decided to be a waxer since then.
So from your Instagram page, you do waxing, you do facials, you do skincare. Do you feel like skincare is an important factor of makeup?
I do. I think skincare is the number one thing. Besides makeup, I feel in the first 7 seconds when you look at a person, you could tell a lot. Okay. So if a person has terrible skin, no one wants to be around that person, kind of.
Oh,
so to me, like, skincare is a major thing. And if you're not taking care of your skin and you have a lot of texture, like bumps, blackheads, and stuff like that, your makeup's not going to go on right.
Right.
So.
Not flawlessly.
Mm-mm.
So out of all of the services that you do offer, what would you say is your favorite service?
A Brazilian.
What?
I love doing Brazilians. Brazilians are my go-to service. I would rather do 1,000 Brazilians in a day than to do facials, believe it or not.
Why?
I hate facials and I hate full leg services. I just don't like them.
Are you one of those people who are disgusted by like getting blackheads and stuff out of people's skin?
No, I absolutely love it. That's really like that's why I created the Vajacials and the facials. I love the extraction part. I love taking out the pimples and taking out the blackheads. To me, that's, you guys may find it gross, but I find it so interesting.
So, can you explain to the listeners what a
Vajacial is?
Vajacial is.
A Vajacial is a facial for your peach area. Whoa. So not only do we do Vajacials, but we also do fanny facials. So your front and your back can look its best.
Yeah, I had a couple of people confess to me that they get acne in those intimate places, and it's embarrassing, I would imagine.
I think a lot of women don't really take care of that area. I feel as though they think, oh, it's just, down there. But down there is just like any other skin. It's just like your face. So you need to take care of that. You need to exfoliate. You need to cleanse it. You need to, hydrate it. If you're not doing any of those things, you're going to have blackheads. You're going to have pimples. You're going to have ingrowns down there. And who wants to go down on somebody like that?
How often do you think people should exfoliate?
Every other day.
Every other day?
Mm-hmm.
And just with a scrub and a brush, a scrub and a
rag? I am a firm believer in dry brushing. So dry brushing is a brush for your body. You don't wet your skin. You don't wet your body. You just brush up towards your heart. The reason why I say that is the best way I could describe it is, let's say you go to the beach. When you step on sand, you can brush away the dry sand. But if you get the sand wet, it's hard to maneuver off of your body. So same thing with your skin cells. If you brush it up, you're going to take away the dry skin instead of having it wet.
And you don't think it's like harsh?
No. You're doing it to yourself so you can apply the pressure that you want. So if you want to really get in there, you could brush up. And Dan could speak for himself because I make him dry brush all the time.
Really?
Yeah, I've never exfoliated in my life until I started dating her.
Aww.
And now I find myself in the bathroom looking at myself and I'm like, I think I gotta exfoliate now.
Oh my God. Well, that's good because men don't really upkeep that area well either. The skin in general, I don't think.
Yeah, I think Dan used to get like a lot of ingrowns like when he shaved, and then now like recently, like if you look at him now, he's pretty good. He gets maybe one or two, but not as much as when I first started dating him.
Yeah, like when she first waxed under my neck, and
Man.
yeah, I had like 5 ingrowns like
in one spot.
In one spot.
How does that feel?
It was really irritating. Like it always feels like it's itchy. Like it feels like you always just want to scratch, but you know not to.
Yeah.
So I started exfoliating, and now when I do that, it's just I might get one like in the middle, but it's not just like a whole bunch growing.
So for people who have like those really deep ingrowns, that exfoliating just will not have it rise to the surface. What do you suggest?
There's a serum out there called PFB Banish Chroma Bright. That is my go-to ingrown serum. When you apply that on, because it has all types of acids, so it has the lactic acid, it has glycolic acid, and it has, I think, salicylic acid in it, that's going to penetrate into your skin, remove all that dead skin cells, and raise the ingrown up. So when it does that, it helps you better because then you can go in there and pull it out.
Okay, cool. So I just want to touch a little bit more on how you got your business started. So at what point after starting your business, you know what? Let's rewind. What did it take to start a business for yourself?
It took Dan, believe it or not. I worked for European Wax Center for years, and then I worked for 2 small businesses. As you know, I worked for the Wax Den, and I did work for Bloomfield Wax in skincare.
Okay.
I just didn't want to work for anybody, and I thought that's what I had to do, like wax people, and I'm getting a paycheck, so why do I care?
Yeah.
But Dan went and he saw my reviews, and he saw the Yelp pages, and he saw like how much I was making them versus how much I was making myself, because as an esthetician or a waxer, we don't make that much money. We live off of our tips. We're like waitresses.
Oh, man.
So Dan would see what I was bringing home, and he was like, how much are they charging? They're making that much off of you? And then he pushed me. He lit the fire up under me. And
yeah, because I truly believe in, if you're a really hard worker, your hard work can either make someone else's dreams come true, or you can put that to yourself and make your own dreams come true. Because
very good point.
I told her, she was like considered, review wise and all that, like the best waxer in that place. We haven't named the location yet, and I don't want to do that because I don't want them like whatever. So at that location, she was ranked like the top waxer there, and I was like, this is what you're taking home, and this is what they're making off of you.
Yeah.
So now you start your own place, you can flip that number, and as we've seen, I know we don't want to throw numbers out there, but she's making way more now than what she was making working for that place. So
I can relate. So I do hear, as you know, and I do hear independently, and a lot of people reach out to me who have salons about doing hair in their salons, but what I consider as the downfall is the fact that you either have to pay for a seat weekly and you don't know how much clientele you're bringing in, or you have to pay. Actually, the most I've seen someone charge their workers is 50% of what they make. And then they see that I have clientele, and then they want me to bring my clientele to their shop, which means if I'm going to make what I usually make, I have to charge my clients 50% more. And they'll make money off of you.
It's hard. I know my grandmother personally, she works in New York, and she's a hairstylist, and she literally pays 50% of whatever services.
Yeah, so if I could touch on that a little, I have like a really big business background. I was a regional sales manager and all that, so I know the numbers. I've dealt with like Walmart. Like I know the specific percentages on what Walmart makes per item in there.
Okay.
So I don't work for them anymore, so I'm just gonna throw numbers out there. I worked for another company, and Walmart makes 10% profit off of Coca-Cola items.
Okay.
Now, it's like you think about that and you're like, oh, Coca-Cola's a billion dollar company and all that. Walmart's a $1 billion company. Now, the reason why they make so much money is because they're making 10% on like over 1,000 items. So that's why they're so successful. Now, back to the chair thing, she was offered the same thing. You want to be a waxer for my location, we'll split it 50-50 and go on that. Now, if you're growing and you don't have the clientele, that's a good thing. But if you have the clientele and like, man, I could make $5,000 alone in a month. Now you're automatically giving that person $2,500. So in the beginning, when you don't have a lot of people and you're only making 1,000 a month, giving them that 500 isn't bad, because you know what? I have my own seat, I have my own location. People come to me, so I'm giving them a little of a little. Basically, you start growing, and you go from 1,000 a month to $5,000 a month.
It becomes a lot.
Yeah, and then you go to, let's say you blow up, and like Erica, you blow up on Instagram, and you have people. She has people traveling from Long Island to see her. She has someone from Colorado who's gonna come down and visit her. Take a flight out here to see her. Now, when you hit that point and you're making $10,000 a month, now that's gonna hurt giving 50% to the person you're renting a chair from. So, a little advice I would give to young people doing makeup, hair, waxing, anything like that. If you can, sign a contract agreement. I'll do the 50-50 for a year. And then after that, I'll just rent it out and pay you whatever you want for it. So that would be my advice. Some places might be like, no, it's 50-50, you're nothing. There's a million salons in Jersey. You could just go somewhere else.
Exactly.
So was there any point in starting your business, like, how long did it take for you to get used to, like, the expenses of doing things yourself?
I'm still not used to it.
Really?
Believe it or not. I think we do inventory maybe like twice a week to see like how much wax we need, how many sticks we need, and stuff like that. I think when we first started off, oh my God, it was hurting us badly. But now we got into a flow where we know if we're down to 2 buckets of wax, we have to order more, and usually comes in like 3 to 4 days. But it's still, the more people you get, the more wax I go through, the more sticks I go through. So I'm still not used to it at all. It hurts me.
And so did you ever want to give up?
I just had this conversation with Dan the other day. He looked at me and he said, if I'm meant to do something, I should always want to wake up and do it. And I said, that's absolutely wrong. There's days that I wake up that I think maybe I'm not meant to be a waxer. Maybe I'm meant to be something else. And there's days that I don't want to go to work, but then I sit and I look on Instagram and people messaging me, and that's just like the encouragement and the boost that I need to go into work to make a difference. I think Dan looked at me and he said, I don't see you as a waxer. I see you as an influencer, like people to go speak to and encourage. Like when I go to schools and I teach and I speak to them, everyone reaches out to me like, oh my God, now I want to do this, I want to do that. And it's stuff like that that makes me want to keep going. But some days I don't want to do it at all.
Yeah, I think you're really personable.
I try.
Yeah, I told her that when I look at her, I see her as an influencer in the waxing world or even skincare world. Now, we know that in order to become an influencer, you have to be someone that people view as worth listening to.
Yeah.
So for someone to see you as someone worth listening to, starting her own business. She started her own business like she knows what it takes.
Yeah.
Getting the good reviews, growing, kind of becoming famous, I guess you would say. People will look at that and go, man, she started her own business. She's very well known. She's good at what she does. I would pay to listen to what she has to say. So the thing she's doing now is actually putting her on that road to become an influencer.
Yeah.
And I feel like, because to me, it's like her owning her own business and waxing people, you can really touch like one person at a time, meaning in their life or business decisions. But once you become an influencer, now you can touch hundreds of people, thousands of people at a time. And I feel like she has that.
I think it's hard. When I first started, I didn't see myself as a great waxer, even though my guests used to come to me and say like, oh, you're so good. It's not that painful. I don't feel that much pain. It's so better than when I went to such and such person. But even when I read reviews and stuff like that, I still didn't feel it.
Why?
It's just something like in you. Like I just didn't think that I was good at it until like you guys came in. You come to me and other people come to me. Even Dan, like when I wax Dan, it's like, oh, I really don't feel it. So it's, when you read it, it's different than someone actually telling you and like showing you, like, look, Erica, you're really good. I only come to you. And I think it's one guest who comes an hour. That one guest literally was like, you're really coming an hour for a $30 Brazilian. And it, to me, it was like, wow.
Yeah, she came from this New York City. She works in the city, and she came all the way over here just for a Brazilian from America.
Yeah, and she's an esthetician herself, so it's like she could do it herself.
She can do it
too,
herself,
but she's coming literally an hour just to see me, and I'm like,
I'm not going to lie. I thought to myself for a while, I'm like, when did I get this Brazilian from America? It had to be last year, literally 2017, and I think
I'm just now getting back to normal growth. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man, this might not be good for her because this thing lasted a while.
And that's another thing. Like a lot of my guys say, like when they go to certain places, they grow hair within the 3 weeks, the 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And then with me, they're like, Eric, I'm reaching 5 to 6 weeks.
It's
what are you doing?
It's literally any other place that I've been to, week and a half, and I'm like, okay, like
it's just a lot of people don't. A lot of them are rushing, and with me, I don't like to rush. I like to have that personal connection with you because I feel like you should trust me, just like I'm trusting you with my business. You should trust me too. So I take my time with each one, and I'm taking out your ingrowns. I'm using tweezers. Other places don't allow you to use tweezers, and I'm applying the pressure that you're supposed to, and I allow you guys to breathe in and out to help you guys out a little bit.
Because that rushing technique that some of these places use, I'm not gonna lie to you. When my legs are up in the air, I feel like I'm gonna catch a Charlie horse because my anxiety is so bad and I'm like tense. And I didn't get that with you,
Yeah.
so I'm like, all right, this one might work.
The only person I haven't really like got to calm down a little bit is Dan.
Oh.
He still yells at me every time, guys. You have no idea.
That's funny. Yeah, I've never had such a good waxing experience. It's just like, it's weird asking people questions like, so what makes you want to wax boobs all day?
Yeah.
Like,
to me, it's fun. I don't know. Like, I love that. It's not that I love that part. Like, no.
do you ever get grossed out?
Yeah, there's people that come to me, and I have no filter when you guys are on my table.
Oh, man.
So I look at some people, and I'm like, I don't think you should get waxed. I think you should go to a doctor or something first. But my job isn't easy, guys. There's people who come in, there's like poop down there, there's like people don't wipe themselves right, some people come straight from the gym, so there's smells.
That's not good.
I think if you're going to be an esthetician or you're going to be a waxer, period, you have to have a strong stomach. I literally, the other day I had a guest and I had to like air out my whole room. It was just, but I'll still take her every month because I love her personally.
That's horrible. I don't think I could stomach that.
It's hard. It's really hard. Dan witnesses firsthand when he's there with me. And
I walk in the room and I'm like,
what's that smell?
where's the spray?
He literally looks at me and is like, where's the spray, Erica? I'm like, right in the back.
That's nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Man, so what do you see yourself doing down the line? Like maybe also in addition to doing waxing, do you see this getting bigger?
Yes, I absolutely do. I was just talking to Dan and I was like, I want to own, different places. I want the Peach Bar to grow. I don't want it to just be like one location.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to have like 2 to 3 locations in certain places and have people work under me because I know what it's like to work as an esthetician.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like me as an owner being an esthetician, I could help them out and show them a little better.
Do you feel like you would be pressured to apply the same rules to people working under you as those who you have worked for?
Yeah, I think that's another thing that holds me back is because I don't feel like I'll be a good boss. I feel like I let everyone get away with too much.
I thought about that. People always say, cool, you can't. I always tell people, don't hit me up after December because I'm graduating. I'm not doing hair anymore. They're like, cool, you can't do that. You have clients. They're like, you should go to school for a hair license and all of that. And honestly, the same reason that I'm not working for someone else, I wouldn't want to apply that to someone who would be looking forward to working with me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Who wants to put that? I'm in college. I'm poor. I don't have time to pay people 50% of my paycheck from work that I physically do. I just think it's unfair.
It's very, very hard. I mean, especially like me and Dan working together and having a relationship, that's hard too because I feel like Dan is part of the Peach Bar and I keep explaining to him that he's part of the Peach Bar. He doesn't work for the Peach Bar. And sometimes he feels like he works for the Peach Bar. And even that, like, because I'm like, Dan, like, I don't want to tell him to do stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm like, but he pushes me more. He's like, we have to do a video. And to me, I'm like,
well, because I think it's just the way I am. Like, I helped her build the Peach Bar. But inside, I still truly feel like the Peach Bar is hers. Like, when people think of the Peach Bar, they don't think of Dan. Like, they think of Erica. So I want it so that, let's say,
I know, right, tear.
let's say, something tragic happens, God forbid, and we end up breaking up. Like, I'm willing to just walk away. Like, I'm not gonna sit there and be like, 50% of the Peach Bar is mine. Like, I helped you build this, and it's like, this is yours. So here, and I'm glad to help. I'm glad to push. I'm glad to do all the work I have to do. But at the end of the day, it's hers. Like, I'm not trying to bite or take a piece of it. So
Dan's one of a kind, guys. In the beginning, we struggled with the peach bar. Anyone who opens up their business, I say you have to be 100% mentally ready, because we struggled in the beginning.
You have to be realistic, because I broke down the numbers to her and I said, okay, how much money do we need? You want to throw out numbers here for the guys?
Sure.
Okay, so we, between all our bills combined, we needed $4,000 a month to survive.
So you're talking, that's rent for the peach bar, rent for
the
us,
house, car insurance, car payments, phone bill. So we needed $4,000 to survive, and we broke that down.
But that's not even including what the peach bar needed. That's just $4,000 for our personal.
Yeah, that wasn't like the wax and the sticks and the gloves and all that.
Do those things really come up to a lot?
Yeah, I think it's like $2,000 a month for supplies and wax. I mean, wax alone for like 2 buckets of wax, the wax that we use, we're paying like
almost 100, like 120.
Yeah, we're up there.
2 buckets, and we're going through 2 buckets a week. So you got to times that for a month, plus the sticks and gloves, which she goes out every other day. We need new sticks and gloves.
That's a lot.
So we needed $4,000 to survive, and we were like, how many clients do we need paying $30 a Brazilian? So it came up to we needed 133 clients to survive. So she goes, okay, well, I have 200 clients. We're good to go. So we were like, all right, fine. So she left, she quit, started her own business. And the first month, maybe 55 clients came. So we need 133 to survive, and 55 came. So our first month, we made $2,100, maybe. And
no, it was less.
It was after taxes.
After taxes and discounts and
so
stuff
like
that.
Let's just say $1,900, and we know all of our bills combined is $4,000. So our first month, we were under. We were like, how are we gonna do this? We're gonna have to get a part-time job, go back to work.
Did you cry?
Yeah,
I would have cried.
And a lot of family members were like, maybe you rushed into this. Maybe you should quit. You should give up. That was going on for about 2.5 months. Of family members saying you should quit, give up. Instagram is growing. Yelp reviews are growing. We were getting more like you should give up and close.
That's definitely a question that I was leading to. So, like I said before, if I didn't say, I'm 23, and a lot of people I know are opening their own businesses, are starting their own businesses, and we get this feeling a lot that the people around us don't support us. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I've received a ton amount of more support from complete strangers.
Yeah.
So how do you feel when it comes to the support of your family or friends?
I think it definitely hurts. You always have a handful that are not going to support you, whether it's friends or family. I think family look at you and they see one thing and they say another. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so
yes, I do.
They may see like you're doing good and stuff like that, but then at the same time, if they're not getting a profit of it, they go against you.
I want to talk about okay. The family rents out our apartment to us.
Oh crap!
They're not gonna listen to this. And after the first month, they're like, "Man, you're putting so many videos. You have so many people coming," and they raised the rent on us. And then we didn't even have enough to pay our bills, and they just raised the rent on us. And it was like either we're raising the rent or it's gonna be like a problem. And we're like, now we gotta move out, this and that. So we ended up paying that, and now we were late on our car payments. We were weeks late on our phone bill. Like,
do you think they would have kicked you out?
No, but they would have.
Yeah, I don't think they would have kicked us out. I think we would just been like hearing it constantly.
Yeah. So and then the second month came. We went from 1,900. We ended up making like 2,900 the second month. So we're like, okay, we're growing. We still can't pay the bills, but we're growing. And then we got another phone call. We're raising your rent again. Yeah, and we're being completely honest. We're raising your rent again. So they raised the rent on us twice. And then I'm just gonna tell you guys right now, we're going into our 5th month, and
that's it.
Yeah.
We're going into our 5th month.
I would have thought you were open for like years.
I know everyone who looks at the Instagram says like, it looks like you've been open for years. I'm like, no, it's only been 5 months.
Now think of this, what I'm telling you was 3 months ago. We were struggling 3 months ago.
I think I was there 3 months ago. I would have never
smiles and say cheese for the camera, videos. But light at the end of the tunnel. We're making more than what we need to
Yeah,
survive
I think we
now,
tripled
so,
our numbers.
Yeah.
And I owe it a lot. I think we started off with 55 people,
Yeah.
and now we're up to close to
138 people.
No, we're up to 240.
Well,
That's
we have 240 in total, but for the month 138 came.
Yeah.
But that average we needed 30 a person. That we're making about 45 a person times 138. So, right, just to let everyone know who's listening, it took us 4 months, but we made it. Our money's great. We're good.
I think as women, we are meant to hide and put a mask on. So I think when guests used to come to me like, "Oh, how are you doing?" I would always put a mask on. I'd be like, "I'm doing great. You know, it's good. I can't complain." But deep down inside, I would go home like, "Oh my God, what am I gonna do?"
I would have never guessed. You're so pleasant and lively, and let's take a picture.
Yeah,
I got a green screen. I'm like, okay.
It's because I'm a firm believer. Like when I walk through those doors, my problems stay outside. And then when I'm there for you guys. I'm not there for myself. So a lot of my guests come to me and they come with problems, and I'm a cheaper version of a therapist. Put it that way. So when they come to me, they talk to me. They, I give them advice to the best of my ability that I can, and it helps them. And to me, I think that's what an esthetician's for. I'm there to talk to you and help you and make you look your best inside and out.
It's like a barbershop.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, well that's definitely an inspiring story. Do you guys still live there?
Yeah.
We're moving out where she was last night looking at places.
Yeah. It's hard to find like a 2-bedroom where we want to live and keep it in like the bills, because just because we're making money doesn't mean we want to spend our money.
Yeah.
He has 2 kids. We have to think about colleges, and I have a dog and I want to get another dog.
Yeah, dogs are expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a little advice I could give on hair, makeup, estheticians, anything in that realm, you really have to be honest with yourself and realistic what you need to survive and to grow. So we knew we needed 133 people, and we thought we had 200 that were just going to come. And now I guess we weren't wrong in thinking that, but we were wrong because 200 didn't come right away. Like they're coming now. They've all came, and now it's like extra plus another.
They all came, but
it took time.
In our defense, it wasn't our fault that they all didn't come.
Yeah.
We had circumstances where people were still saying, "I worked at the place. I was just out on a leave or this or that." So they were still going to the other place thinking that I was there, when realistically I opened up my own place and I was somewhere else.
Yeah.
Did you tell them when you were opening up your own place?
Certain people I did, but when I left abruptly. I was supposed to leave.
Okay.
I gave them a full month, I think I gave them.
Yeah.
And I think by the second week something just happened and I just had to go.
How many people would you say you wax on a regular, like a day?
When I was working for other companies, I was doing 35 people a day.
A day?
A day, because I'm one of the fastest waxers out there, I believe. I'm a firm believer. I could do a Brazilian in 7 minutes if I had to. And Dan's witnessed that. I literally put a person on my table and he's like, "You're done already?"
Send him out in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
I could do a Brazilian fast. So I was seeing someone every 15 minutes. So 4 people an hour, and I was working like 8-hour, 9-hour shifts.
Now, we'll get into that. Now, let's say for every 3 people, we make about a little over $100. So if she's doing 35 a day, what's 35?
That's 3,500.
Yeah, you're talking a lot of money.
Now,
I was making and then for them, when I was working at another place, I was seeing 4 people an hour. So I was working 9-hour days, 10-hour days, maybe 11-hour days. So if you make, let's say, 100 times 11, I was making them $1,100 a day. And I was working there 5 days to 6 days a week.
And that's what I brought to her. I was like, look, what are you making them and what are you taking home? Like, she was taking home.
I would cry.
Every 2 weeks, let's put it this way, guys. I'm completely honest. Every 2 weeks, my paycheck was $562. Every 2 weeks.
And you were making them about 10,000 every 2 weeks, and she was taking home 500.
Yes, and so I was only taking 500, but my tips, you guys do tip me. So let's say on a day I was bringing maybe like between 90 to like the most I made in a day was like 200 in tips. So that gets added to my paycheck. But if you think about it, 500 every 2 weeks doesn't cover your rent.
That's bad.
It didn't even cover my phone bill because I was paying for my phone. I was paying for my sister's phone. I think I had like 4 phone lines, and I was paying like close to $400, I think, close to 6.
Yeah.
And then that would be my whole paycheck.
What do you think a decent tip is?
for what you do?
No pressure.
I think depend. Okay.
A Brazilian.
A Brazilian. I think anywhere between. I'm gonna be realistic. If you're a college student, $5 is more than enough for me. What? If you're a college student, because I know a lot of you guys are like don't work and stuff like that. You're living off mommy and daddy. I get it. But if you're a grown adult coming to me, and I gotta put in work.
With a grown vagina.
With a grown vagina. And especially if you haven't done anything down there, because people come to me, they haven't touched it in a year.
That's nasty.
So I have to like trim it. I have to do a lot of stuff. Wow. So if you're coming to me, I think $20 is sufficient. Just because my prices are low. I'm only charging you $30 a Brazilian. Mm-hmm. When you go to European waxing, you're paying $60 a Brazilian. So even if you tip me that $20, you're still paying $10 less than if you would have went somewhere else.
You're also tipping at European, so 60 plus your tip, you're looking like $80.
That is true too. And I do a lot more because I do tweeze.
They don't do that at European?
They don't do that. They're not allowed to tweeze.
I think I went there once and I like got up halfway because it was too rough. I was like, wow, this is ridiculous.
I have never had anyone quit on me. Knock on wood. Never had anyone quit on me. I have stopped services. I'm not going to lie. I think, to me, waxing shouldn't be that painful. Yes, it's painful, but it shouldn't be so painful that you're crying or anything like that.
Okay.
Because if it's that painful, you're never going to come back to me. So why finish a service if you're never going to come back? It makes no sense. Mm-hmm. So I did stop services, but I've never had anyone quit on me.
Are there like numbing creams or something that people, do they work?
No.
I wouldn't think that either.
I tell everyone I use a numbing spray, and it does have lidocaine in it. But because I'm pulling from deep within, so I'm pulling from the root. So because I'm pulling from the root, that numbing spray is not going to go down. It's only going to numb the top. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think that.
So you don't feel the wax going off, but you're going to feel the wax.
Somebody told me before, like, oh, I remember one time I shaved in between the wax. The worst thing I've ever possibly done.
Yeah, I think that was me.
They're like, oh, take 2 Advils.
Yes, thank you. I say that all the time.
I never did it though. Does it work?
Yeah, it does. Because that's going into your bloodstream, it's going to hit that area. It's going to help a little bit. So let's say if you thought waxing's like an 8, it's going to bring it down to like a 6.
Okay. So I can handle a 6. Definitely. So
you have any other questions for me? There's one thing. Okay. There's one thing I want to say.
Okay.
When you are an esthetician and stuff like that, or when you are my guest, I want to say, you guys have to come in and like be nicer.
People are not nice?
I have guests come in and some of them are kind of rude. I think I had a guest call me today and she was rude. And I was like, I don't want to take her. Yeah. And Dan's like, why? And I'm like, because she was rude to me.
How was she rude?
I think she asked me for something and I was like, oh, can I have your cell phone number? She's like, it's the number you just called. I was like,
that's not the point, lady.
Yeah, I know. But I think when you guys come in too, I need you guys to relax. I think a lot of people have this, when you come in for waxing, you guys think 40-year-old virgin. It is nothing like that. I don't know why you guys think of that movie. Why does everyone think of that movie?
Because we've never seen any other movie with someone getting waxed.
My Instagram. Don't worry, guys. The Peach Bar WC on Instagram.
I'm not going to lie. I've been getting waxed for like years. Off and on, of course. And every time I go, I'm scared. Every time. Why. I can go like 4 months in a row. Every month I'm scared.
But when you go those 4 months in a row, isn't it a lot pleasant?
It's pretty decent. The part that I don't like is that when I was going to other places, they're like, oh yeah, come back every 3 weeks. It doesn't grow back every 3 weeks. So then the appointment gets thrown out of order. And I'm just like, forget it. And that's what makes me inconsistent.
You see, what it is we're naturally taught every 4 weeks. I'm naturally taught every 4 weeks because that's how your hair grows. So when I catch it in the 4 weeks, it's easier and easier for you. So every time I'm pulling it from the root, I'm damaging that root. So that's more. But certain people are different. So what I might be doing in 4 weeks, like me personally, I have to wax every 4 weeks because I'm just a hairy monster. But other guests could do 6 to 8 weeks because their hair grows slower.
I think that's me.
See, so if you're like that, and that's what kind of messed us up too, because what I'm doing guests, like, usually I do every 4 weeks with other places. I was doing every 4 weeks because of the wax I use. The wax I use just really gets it from the root, and people are pushing it back now 6 weeks. So I'm not doing them every month. I'm doing them like every other month.
Yeah.
So that was throwing off our numbers too, and we just had to learn how to adjust and accommodate that way.
Do you feel like people prefer hard wax over the soft wax with the soft wax is with strips, right?
So the difference between hard wax and soft wax. Hard wax, I like to say that's the Instagram wax. That's the wax that you guys see everyone lay on, and then they pull it up. They don't need the strips over. Now the soft wax is the one that you put the hot wax on, you put that little material, and you pull it up. The difference between the two is the soft wax not only attaches to your hair, but it attaches to your skin too.
Okay.
So when I'm pulling up, I have
bleeding.
You have bleeding. It's a little rougher because I'm pulling up on the skin and the hair. So now you feel a yanking method versus just a pulling method. When you do the hard wax, you hold on to the skin a certain way and you make it extremely taut. So you want to stretch out the skin really good so that when you're pulling up the wax, it's only pulling the hair and not the skin. And that's why you have a longer service and you have less ingrowns because of the wax. Because when you're using soft wax, since it's pulling on your skin and it's like yanking it, it's breaking it off and causing ingrowns.
Sorry about that, guys.
That's fine. We're used to that ringtone all the time.
Do you ever think about raising your prices?
No.
What?
I think when we first decided to do pricing, I looked at everyone around me and I wanted to be good but affordable at the same time. So I feel like I'm affordable, but I think Dan witnesses it. He feels as though I do too much for a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of
I think it's a catch-22.
Yeah, I would never say be the cheapest around. You want to be
Most affordable.
like average market. So if there's 5 places, and you always have your high one, which is European wax. Like they charge.
They just keep getting
There's
higher.
there's another place higher than
Okay,
them next to us.
So let's say there's one at 80, and then there's somewhere else at 60, and then there's a few around 40. You don't want to just go, oh, well, let me drop to 20 because then now your quality drops. So people are like, you know what? I'd rather pay the extra 20 to get better quality. You hear 20, even with that, you're like, that's cheap, but
it's skeptical.
A lot, and that's what a lot of people say because a lot of people see us on Groupon and they see us on Yelp, and they're like $30. Like I was skeptical at first. I didn't know I was gonna come into when you come into my room, it's like a big room.
Yeah,
where you
I thought it was gonna be like a small
little hole in the wall
where you get your nails done in the same place kind of room.
Yeah.
And that's what people say. They're like, I didn't think it was gonna be like this, and I'm like, yeah, because you think of the price, but you have to look at the reviews of the person.
Yeah.
And also with that is don't be the cheapest. Be what the fair market value is, and then just do more than what everyone else is doing. So if 5 people are doing 4 steps at that 5th step, so even though you're the same price, they feel like they're getting more with you because you're doing more.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say.
I think when you go to other places, of course the first thing is we cleanse the area. They apply an oil or a powder. I personally love to use powder.
Why?
I feel powder helps the skin a little better. So I think when you use oil, it rolls like right off if you don't use the right amount. With powder, I never have that problem.
Okay.
And I feel like a lot of my guests sweat a lot because they're so nervous, and the powder absorbs that moisture, so nothing interferes with the wax. With oil, if you're sweating plus the oil, it's going to not work very well. So I feel like the powder is better. And then after you use the powder, you wax them, and then after you wax them, you apply a cream and you send them out the door. With me, I like to go the extra step, and then I tweeze out all the hairs and stuff like that. Then I apply like an aloe gel just to soothe you down, and then I send you out the door. So I kind of like to do that extra step so that people want to keep coming back.
So how does
The peach bar? Vajacials?
how does that go?
So the Vajacial is very cool, guys. So the first step I do is if you haven't been waxed, we wax you, and then after we wax you, we cleanse it with a cleanser. I like to use a lightening cleanser to help lighten down there. So we use a cleanser. After we cleanse, we exfoliate with steam. Because what the steam's going to do is 2 things. The first thing it's going to do is it's going to open up those pores so that when I go in there to get the blackheads, the whiteheads, or even ingrowns, everything comes out without being so painful.
Okay.
And at the same time, since it's hitting that area in a certain position, it makes your muscles contract, so it actually makes you tighter down there.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of girls like it. So we steam, we exfoliate, then I take out your ingrowns. Then after I take out your ingrowns, I sanitize the area again just to make sure there's no bacteria going in there. Then I apply a lightening cream, like a lightening mask. Then I use a high frequency, which is like a zapper, to kind of zap your skin to close up those pores and help the mask penetrate deeper. And then I put a finishing cream on you, and then you're out the door.
That almost sounds like a microderm.
It kind of is.
I got one twice.
Oh, see, no.
The zap thing, I'm like, wow, you're gonna zap me?
Yeah, I love the zapper. I feel like the high frequency is like a great machine for any esthetician to have on hand.
That's pretty cool.
Mhm.
So, thank you guys so much for being my first business interview. You guys are great. You were really helpful. You guys, they helped me set up all the equipment. I was like running around like a chicken without a head. I was nervous. I'm like sweating a little bit, and they really helped. They really did. I'm really grateful for you guys.
We try. We're here to help. That is our job. We are here to help other businesses and people grow as individuals and as a business, I believe.
Really appreciate that, guys. So thank you so much,
You're
Erica.
welcome.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. I hope to work with you guys in the future. I have